Right, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today, so that we can give you some information on our neurodynamic breathwork facilitation program. And so I'm just going to start out. Today, Simon and I will be giving you this information, and we're two of the three teachers for the program. The third one is Glenn, who isn't here today. And so we're going to start by just giving you a little bit about our background, how we got into breath work and kind of what the benefits have been for us. So I am going to start with my story. And when I was growing up, I just had a pretty, normal life, I would say. I was always very good in things that had to do with the mind, where I had to figure things out. I got good grades in school. I did well on tests. I ended up getting a really good job. But on the other side, anything that had to do with more heart-oriented stuff, like being open, being vulnerable, being willing to kind of be out there and take risks, emotionally, I didn't do well. I would say that my two prominent emotional states were fear and anxiety when I was growing up. But I never knew why. I could never figure it out. And so I kind of followed my path in life, and I knew there was something missing. I just had no idea how to get there, figure out what was going on, what was stopping me from feeling better about my life, and for instance, being in a successful relationship that was not working for me. Anything that was like heart oriented, I wasn't doing well in. And then at a certain point, I ended up going down to Peru, and for really a totally different reason, just to be in the rainforest, but I ended up doing an ayahuasca journey. And for those of you who don't know what ayahuasca is, it's a psychedelic that's used in religious ceremonies in South America. And when I had that experience, it just blew my mind. It was the first time that I really felt safe in the world, like that the world, I didn't have to protect myself on some level from something. And so when I got back to the United States, I'm going, okay, science mind kicks in. If I can have that kind of an experience with the substance, and there must be other ways to have that experience. Also, the receptors are there in my brain. And so I searched all kinds of different stuff and ultimately landed on breathwork. And I, at that point, chose holotropic breathwork because it was developed by a psychiatrist based on his experiences with LSD psychotherapy. So he did use some science in figuring out what was going on. And he saw these incredible healing personal growth experiences that people were having through their these what he called non-ordinary states of consciousness through LSD. And he wanted to mimic that without LSD when it got banned. So he ultimately developed holotropic breathwork. It's an in-person modality, like with a 10-hour workshop structure. And that's where I started. And so I had an experience with that, had another amazing experience. And within a fairly short period of time, I got to the bottom of why I wasn't able to feel safe in the world. And this is something that it happened so long ago that it was completely out of my mind. It was in my unconscious mind. And what I saw was I went back to an experience when I was a child, about 8 or 9 years old. I was having a conversation with my mother, who was a German Jew, a Nazi escapee. And I would ask her, what was your childhood like? And she would tell me basically that her family was ensconced in German society for hundreds of years. My grandfather was a World War I hero. One of my ancestors paid Napoleon to go around their village and not burn it down. And so they were like kind of almost heroes in their community. And then almost from one day to the next, when the Nazis came, her friends turned against her and she had to run for her life. Now, she'd already worked her way through this. So this wasn't, she didn't give me any meanings or conclusions about it. But in my child mind, what I made a decision was at that point, the world is an unsafe place. And I carried that unconscious decision through my entire life. And obviously, when you come from a space of the world is an unsafe place, you're not going to be able to open up, to be vulnerable, to take risks. And once I saw that, and once it came to my consciousness, I could start to work with it. And I could start to consciously see when that was coming up and saying, okay, I'm not going to let a decision that a 9-year-old child made about life control my adult life. And so I started to be able to jump more into relationships, to open myself up more, to take more risks in my life, to start companies, to take financial risks, to take personal risks, it just completely shifted my life, with of course, doing continuing inner work. So that was what got me into breath work. And then after a decade, I saw that, okay, this is really, really good stuff. I was seeing all these people. I became a holotropic breathwork facilitator. I was seeing all these people have life-changing results. And I said, okay, I want to really bring this to the world. I really feel that's part of my life mission, but I can't do it with doing in-person breathwork. I can only work with 30, 40 people at a time and with 10-hour workshops. So I said, okay, I'm going to develop and create my own breathwork modality that can be done online. So I can work with larger numbers of people, so in-person and online, and will be just as effective, and where I can do, and also shorter sessions where I can get it all done in a couple hours. And so I tested for 6 months, saw what would work, what didn't work, what kind of music was necessary, launched about 5 years ago. And I called it NeuroDynamic Breathwork because it is science-based. And now 5 years later, we have people from over 120 different countries that have participated. I've got over 100,000 people on my mail list, and it's just been incredibly popular because of the really amazing experiences that people have. And that's what we're going to be training you in the training program, how to facilitate that type of breath work. And so now I'll turn it over to Saimi to talk a little bit about her journey.
Hello, everyone. I am Saimi Nakamura. I'm also a breathwork facilitator for both NeuroDynamic breathwork and holotropic breathwork, as well as a theory of an advanced world counselor practitioner. And I'm leading the personal development program in this NeuroDynamic breathwork facilitator training course. Very happy to be here with you today. So I'd like to introduce myself a little bit. I was born and grew up in Tokyo, Japan, and I had a very good, comfortable life there, working for a big corporation. But something happened one day, that my boyfriend at the time expressed his interest in marrying me. Then all of a sudden I got this notion, who am I? Because until that point, all I have done was just to play the cluster of roles as trying to be a good daughter, good student, and devoted girlfriend, and then trustworthy employees and colleagues and decent member of society. So when I got the notion of, am I trying to be a good wife and proper daughter-in-law and future mother to my future children, then I was really actually very upset with this notion of sadness, because I felt like, who am I? I don't know who was I at the time, who I was at the time. And I felt, how could I teach my future children to believe in themselves and then develop a healthy level of self-esteem within themselves if I didn't have any and had no idea who I was. So this notion just urged me to go on a journey of self-discovery. So I left everything familiar behind, including my boyfriend at the time, and came to Los Angeles with one suitcase and broken English for the journey of self-exploration. And here in LA, I enrolled in myself in acting class to discover my unique strength and connect with my authentic self. And over the next 28 years, I worked hard in supporting myself financially as an actor and published author, which was amazing. But also that allowed me to purchase a luxury car and condominium in Hollywood Hills, which was having my dreams come true. But despite my apparent success, in my internal world, I was in an emotional turmoil with envy and jealous and acute loneliness. I constantly doubted my abilities and worried about my future. These dark thoughts and fear of uncertainty developed into an eating disorder and suicidal ideation. So leading me to seek help through psychotherapy, years of psychotherapy and energy healing, self-help books, motivational seminars, and personal development programs, as well as anti-anxiety medication and sleeping pills over 15 years. However, none of these remedies could really help me alleviate my emotional ups and downs and fear and anxiety. I wasn't aware at the time, aware of it at the time, but my average emotional state was uneasiness because I was unconsciously carrying so much suppressed anger, resentment, and rage, and also grief, and not knowing why I felt that way with so much heaviness inside of my body. And that clouded my judgment. Created mind fog. And this constant emotional suppression left me feeling occasional panicking, out of control, and powerlessness, and then despair. And while many self-help talks and spiritual guides advised me to love myself first, and to also believe in yourself first, but I had no idea how to do that. So I asked around a clear guidance, step-by-step practice procedure to start loving myself and believing in myself. But I never got clear guidance or answer. However, everything changed when I discovered Breathwork, a workshop that introduced me to an expanded state of consciousness guided solely by my own breath and music. So through this process, I learned to trust my inner guiding intelligence, we call it IGI, and surrender to the breathwork experience, enabling me to tap into the unmanifested realms within myself. So the answers I had been seeking in the outside world were, in fact, inside of myself all the time. So since that moment, my perspective has expanded and my awareness has been elevated, allowing me to see completely different aspects of myself and accept different aspects of myself too. And also my parents, my childhood, my life, and my reality. And now with gratitude in my heart, I have been moving forward to fulfill a life full of compassion, understanding, and acceptance. So for the past 3.5 years, I have been leading the personal development program in this facilitator training course and witnessing an incredible transformation of our trainees on their self-discovery journeys, which has been just truly amazing and mind-boggling. And what a privilege to witness that. And it is so rewarding. Yes. So I hope, yes, our stories, personal journeys will inspire you or resonate with you, yes, to be interested in applying for this training course. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Saimi. And so I'm just going to talk just for a moment about breathwork in general. Let me do a little screen share. So the first question is what is breathwork really? I know some people are a little confused about what that means. It is different types of things. So, but basically what we're talking about is that the conscious use of shifting your breath technique in a very specific way to create healing and self-realization. And breath work is not new. In ancient and prehistorical societies, breath was used as one of the principal tools for healing practice and self-realization, which was even reflected in their languages. And in Chinese, for example, qi means air that we breathe and also the energy of life. In Hebrew, ruach means both breath and creative spirit. And in Latin, spiritus means both breath and spirit. In ancient Greek, pneuma means both air or breath and spirit. And so what is neurodynamic breathwork, which is the modality that we'd be training you in? It's a science-based breathwork modality where a person breathes faster and deeper over a period of 60 to 90 minutes to quiet the ego mind and access that deeper part of our psyche that has all of the answers that we need, which I call our inner guiding intelligence. Some people call it connection to source or higher intelligence. But it really doesn't matter what you call it. It's that part of ourself that we normally have very, very little access to. It's because of our constant chit-chat mind and our stressing, our anxiety, the cortisol we're putting into our system. And so in this breath work, you basically, using breath and music, quiet the ego mind and connect with this amazing inner resource we all have. And the basic principle behind neurodynamic breathwork, which is quite different than most other breathworks out there, is that this is a modality of self-empowerment. That's really fundamental, foundational to this. And as a result, we feel that the breather does not need the facilitator to guide the process. The facilitator is there to create a safe container for breathers to have their own experiences and access their own inner guidance. Only their own inner guidance knows which experience they're ready to have and what is safe for them to experience in any given day, not the facilitator. So again, we're not creating this kind of dependence on the facilitator to guide the process. We're creating a person getting more confidence in their own inner guidance and that they do have the answers within. And people actually bring that back out into their life as they do more breath work. So what are some of the results that people get from neurodynamic breath work? And again, this is not guessing. This is from surveys of hundreds of breathers. And so 89% get some or major relief from anxiety, if that's an issue for them, 84% some or major relief from trauma. This third one's really important, 75% better access to their inner wisdom or inner guiding intelligence in their everyday life. So it really does work when we make it non-directive and allow the breather to have their own experience and only reach out for help when they need to the facilitator. Otherwise, the facilitator, we train them to be present, to hold space, to create a safe container for the breather to access their own inner resources. And then they can bring that back out into their life and feel more confidence when they do have to make a decision to be able to access their own guidance with every decision that they make. And some other common results are some or major relief from depression, increased connection to intuition, greater self-awareness, feeling more connected to themselves and others, feeling more embodied, being more present in and having a deeper experience of life, improve romantic relationships, increase self-trust, having more clarity on their purpose in life, that's a huge one, and much more. And all of this stuff, again, it's all surveyed scientifically so that these really are experiences that people do have in neurodynamic breathwork on a regular basis. And the types of experiences that people have are, one is like sensory release, where every time we suppress an emotion into our body, there is almost always this bioenergetic block that's attached to it. And it's after a while, it really starts to create problems with your health and well-being. So many times the first level of experience is a sensory release where people are releasing those blockages, where people get tension then release or temperature changes, just stuff going on in their body that they might vibrate or shake, that's releasing these stuck tensions and really clearing out their energetic passageways where they feel more energy in life, they feel more vital and alive. They also get transpersonal experiences, biographical or visual experiences, re-experiencing part or all of the birth process. So for instance, they might feel like dissolved into the universe, going back into their childhood, but seeing experiences from a different way. So in other words, let's say they had something that happened to them in a childhood that they felt at the time was really traumatic or made them feel unsafe in the world. They can go back and see them from now being an adult and seeing that maybe they could take something from that experience and see it from a totally different perspective to open up new possibilities. Sometimes people just feel more confident. And like for me, it's like after my doing a bunch of breath work, I just felt more confident in my decision-making power, in really knowing what was really right for me. So all of those things are possible. And if you do breath work long enough, you'll probably have a bit of all of it. And so just share, just to give you an example of how this works, like with your biographical experiences, from someone who participated in neurodynamic breathwork, and this was what he sent to me. In my most recent neurodynamic breathwork session, I was able to confront an incident of abuse from childhood that I'd been repressing. I was able to return mentally and emotionally to the place where it happened and radically transform my own interpretation of the experience. I remembered that during the incident, at a point when I was in mortal danger, I was overcome with a feeling of utter calm combined with the certainty that I would be okay. At the time, I understood how precious and meaningful this realization was. But in the days and weeks to come, it was crowded out by feelings of intense shame and the urge to repress what had happened. during this breathwork session over 35 years later, I was able to reconnect with the sense of divine safety that I'd experienced and to recognize what a wonderful gift I'd been given. A very deep part of me was in contact with something divine that day. And through NeuroDynamic breathwork, I'm learning to revitalize and reinforce that connection. I feel excited, hopeful, and genuinely optimistic in a way that I haven't felt in many years. Okay, so that's just a sample of an experience that people can have where they can actually go into their past and take things that they felt were holding them back. For instance, this person, just like me, was feeling unsafe in the world. Like when you have this feeling that someone has done something to you that they shouldn't have done, and that you can't trust someone close to you, how can you trust other people? How can you trust the universe? And in NeuroDynamic breathwork, just from seeing it from a different perspective and remembering things in a different way, he completely shifted like 180 degrees to I'm always protected. I'm always safe no matter what happens. And it completely transformed his life. But he had to do more work. It wasn't instantaneously, obviously. But those are the experiences that we want to train you how to allow people to have. And once that you can facilitate people having these types of experiences and really contribute to your friends, to the planet, to the world in that way, where you can allow people to access their inner power, to be more self-empowered in their life, to shift their past, to move forward, open up new possibilities for themselves. So now getting more into the details, we're going to move on to getting more into the details of the actual Breathwork Facilitator training program. And first, I'm going to talk about, it's a 2/3 facilitation skills, 1/3 personal development. So I'm going to first talk about the 2/3 that I do with Glenn. And so basically, these are the components. It's a 6-month program. And the reason it's a 6-month program is because facilitating people to go into these very, very deep, open, vulnerable spaces is a really big responsibility. You know, sometimes people can have these blissful experiences. Sometimes they can be dark when they go back to re-experience trauma to release it or whatever. And we want to make sure that you are fully prepared to work with people no matter what happens, so they can come out in a positive, empowered way, no matter whether the experience is dark, whether it's blissful, whatever it is. And so our goal when we created this was to give you the benefit of the 3 of ours combined 45 years of breathwork facilitation training. You know, we all originally went through the holotropic breathwork training program, which is a 2.5 to 3 year program that costs like $15,000 to $20,000. Give you the benefit of that. Plus, since I developed NeuroDynamic breathwork, I've done over 1,000 online sessions. Give you the benefit of that, and put it all into a 6-month online program. And we feel very, very good about how it's come out. And so what's included is over the 6 months, every Saturday, well, 3 Saturdays out of 4, there's a live session where you meet with your fellow trainees for 4.5 hours. It starts at 9 a.m. US Pacific time. And those are the times when we do things that you really have to do in person. We have breakout groups where people might, go and see, well, if this happened in your session, how would you handle that? And we have some group sharing about some of the, when people are practicing their own breathwork sessions. So there's 12 sessions of that. There's a total of 17 sessions, 18 sessions, sorry, no, 17, correct. So in those 12 sessions, that's part of it. And also we have a component that's also, there's 2 books that you have to read. We have special guests. 2 out of the sessions, we have areas that we think are really important, and we wanted to get like worldwide experts in it to give you the benefit of that. The first is ethics. And ethics is an incredibly important part of breathwork. And you might have heard, and I'm going to mention psychedelics here because some people do have kind of psychedelic style experiences in breathwork, because some of the ways that it works in the brain is similar. And I'm sure you've read about some situations that have happened where these psychedelic assisted therapy sessions where the therapists have done things they shouldn't have had, with the people, and they've gotten into trouble. We want to make sure that you're very clear on how to work with these situations when you're working with people in these open, vulnerable states, and they might get attached to you, and you're like a power and authority figure to them. So what we did was we got one of the 2 or 3 foremost experts in the world on ethics in regards to these expanded states of consciousness experiences. She actually teaches the session. And one of the 2 books is a book that she wrote that you're going to have to read. So we do think that that's important, an important aspect of working with these people. And so we actually got the expert to lead that session. And the second thing that we think is very important is that sometimes people have these experiences where they come into breathwork where, let's say they've been climbing the corporate ladder for 30 years, and all of a sudden in breathwork, they get in touch with what their true passion is in life, like, what their purpose is in life. And it has nothing to do with the 30 years that they've just spent being in the corporate world. They're going, okay, no, I don't feel like I've contributed to the world at all. This is what I want to do. It's something totally different. And it means restarting from scratch. And many people work through that and are just very happy that they finally found their purpose. But for some people, they can go into a very dark space where they're going, oh my God, I've wasted 25 years of my life. This is horrible. And so we have, and we call that spiritual emergence, basically, where they have this kind of, spiritual opening into their true purpose in life. And so we have the one person in the world who has actually created a spiritual emergence center, or maybe it's 1 out of 2 or 3, who actually comes and teaches that class. So again, we're committed to giving you the best possible education and to completely training you to be ready for whatever wants to happen in a breathwork session. The other things that what we actually train you in, preparing for the session, how to make sure you get the right people in the sessions. There's some reasons where it wouldn't be safe to do this kind of breathwork, so you can screen people out during the session to be able to handle whatever comes up, even if people have dark experiences, how to work with them so they come out in a positive way. Being able to work with people after the sessions with integration. And, many times people have these amazing experiences where, like, let's say you go to a weekend workshop and you get all pumped up and they're screaming and yelling, yeah, this is amazing. And you come back into your life and you go, oh, that was amazing. But once you go back into your life, you're in the same stuff. And slowly over a period of days, it just kind of evaporates and you're stuck in your same patterns. So we want to make sure that people actually embody these experiences and take it back into their lives and actually make major shifts in their life. And that's what integration is about. So we teach you all about integration. So preparation, workshop, integration. So we go through all of that with you in incredible detail. You also have a study partner during the session where you work with in terms of just doing exercises, and you also do practices with them. So we want to make sure you get a lot of practice sessions during the last half of the program. So you do practice sessions with your study partners, where you're facilitating for them and they're facilitating for you, both online. We also have you do some in-person sessions with your friends, and then come back and tell us what happened, what worked, what didn't work, so we can kind of, guide you in terms of, so you can see, oh yeah, that's what I could have done there. And so we want to make sure that you have a lot of experience during the program so you really feel confident when you get out. We also have 2 whole sessions on music. Music is a very important part of neurodynamic breathwork. And the music is scientifically designed to really support people in doing a deep dive in wherever they need to go. So the music's very important, and we do a whole 2 sessions in training you in how do you put a music set together. And people bring tracks that they love to the sessions, and we all talk about them. Where would you put that in? Is it appropriate? Is it not appropriate? And then we actually create a whole music set out of what people bring to those sessions and vote on, basically. It's super fun. And then just to train you how to put the sets together, so you're prepared for that facet of it. You also have a personal coach, and where you have 3 actual schedule meetings with them, and if you need more, you can get that too. And so we stay with you every step of the way to make sure you don't get lost, you don't get sidetracked, and that you stay on course. And the other components are there's videos to watch to prepare for the in-person sessions, and there's homework to do to prepare. Where you actually are, because we can't cover everything during the live session. So we want to make sure that what you can do on your own, you do on your own to prep for the live sessions. So the live sessions are as powerful as possible. And everything's recorded. So you can look at it afterwards. You have permanent access to it. And what you'll see is that, and you're allowed to miss up to 3 of the live sessions, because we know that sometimes people have other stuff. And if you do miss, you can always watch the recording afterwards. So again, this is designed to be as fluid as possible for you and to really do a good training. And the last and one of the most important components is that every week you will do an online breathwork session with one of the 3 of us, myself, Sayemi, or Glenn, that we do in our platform. We do 5 live sessions every week. And the purpose of that is twofold. The first is the more you have your own experiences, the more you'll be able to hold space for others that have them. And secondly, you'll start to see how we respond to people in the chat rooms, in the share groups afterwards. When people come out and say, oh my God, this happened, what do I do? And see how we respond to them, to support them and lead them to this space where they come out in a very grounded, positive, empowered way. And over 6 months, you'll see pretty much everything that can possibly happen and have this amazing learning. And we're the only platform that can provide it. There isn't any other platform in the universe where they actually offer 5 live facilitated sessions every week. So all of those components we put together into what we believe is the best breathwork facilitator training out there. And that is our side of the side of the program that I do with Glenn. And now I'll turn it over to Saimi to talk about the program that actually I do with her, which is personal development.
Okay, thank you, Michael. So let me screen share with you. Okay, so this is the personal development program. We have 5 modules, means like a 5 Saturday live sessions. And these are the programs. Yes. But also before live session, I release about 3 small videos, which is a total 60 minutes to 90 minutes. So you can self-study and then do brain exercises, assigned brain exercises, and submit on a Google form so I can take a look at them before we dive into the live session. So that is the process. So let me introduce the personal development program. So the breathwork we offer is specifically designed to tap into our inner healing potential, empowering us to embrace growth, expansion, and moving towards a wholeness instead of depending on outside sources. So this transformative experience is non-guided, meaning that facilitators refrain from directing breathers' journeys. Instead, our role lies in meticulously creating a safe and supportive container, supportive space for participants to explore and discover themselves. So relying on their own inner guiding intelligence that we are all born with. So in order to grasp the principles of NeuroDynamic breathwork facilitation, we guide our trainees to reevaluate the notion of helping people and encourage them to practice the art of doing, not doing. Through this approach, facilitators learn to create a space where breathers can unlock their inner potential without external interference, allowing the transformative power of the process to unfold naturally. And we are going to talk about internal landscape of being an effective facilitator by learning the different aspects of ourselves. When we function as a breathwork facilitator, we need to be 100% in service to our breathers. And here are the principles of being and offering ourselves as NDB facilitators. So NDB facilitators understand that we are not therapists, spiritual teachers, gurus, or healers or guides. We don't fix breathers. So NeuroDynamic facilitators can hold space to support breathers' processes with both our physical and non-physical presence. And NDB facilitators can create a container in which breathers can follow their intuition and access their inner wisdom to heal and restore themselves in a safe and self-empowering way. NDB facilitators have done extensive inner work and continue educating and developing our skills. We have learned to trust our own intuition and inner wisdom so that we understand the value of doing, not doing, to support breathers to go through their own process by accessing their inner resources within. So a basic NDB principle is that we do not intervene in breathers' process by either touching or talking to them without a request or permission from the breather, unless it is a safety issue. We need to honor that their experience is their internal process guided by their own inner wisdom and inner guiding intelligence. And all the answers lie within each breather. So if we haven't had much experience in connecting and aligning with the power of our own intuition, unconscious wisdom, and inner guidance, then it might be difficult to hold space for breathers to go through their internal process without projecting our own inner state onto the breather's process. So many of us are culturally conditioned to reach out to someone who is under great emotional distress, and our ego mind could peek out or get triggered and jump to the conclusion, oh, my breather is struggling, or I can help my breather, and meddle into the sacred process of connecting to their own inner healing potential. So we need to think first, like, if we get impulse, like I have to help. So then am I wanting to feel good about my facilitation skills? We need to question ourselves and self-evaluate. Or am I depending on outside validation to fulfill my insecurity by helping? Yeah, so just proactively helping without being asked for it. So we are going to build that notion inside of us just to enhance our ability to self-evaluate and self-validate our work and result that we produce. And personal development is deepening the understanding of who we are so that we can learn to take good care of ourselves. So as we getting to know ourselves in a deeper and more intimate way by doing deep inner work, deep introspection, we are also cultivating compassion and patience within ourselves. Then we start to recognize a connection to everybody, every event, everything that has shown up in our lives, and the message or lesson that each person, each event brought to our awareness. By deepening our understanding of who we truly are, we expand our perspective and elevate our awareness so that we begin to see things we couldn't see before, and we start to understand things that we couldn't understand before. So we will deepen the understanding of who we are by learning a new way to see our world by exploring who we are, expanding our perspective with self-acknowledgement, self-reflection, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and self-discipline, and gaining self-knowledge, which enhances the capacity to perceive more opportunity and possibility to allow us to make choices that support us to be more flexible, and self-regulating our own emotional states so they do not interfere with our ability to be present, and increasing neural wirings and updating our brain to free ourselves from self-inflicted limitations and unleash our potential. So become aware of allocating one's focus and energy. And the focus is on the present moment and being open and flexible. So to enhance our ability to stay present and focused, we can adopt a more vertical perspective rather than a horizontal one. And here is one of the examples. So being horizontal is emotionally reacting to both what you think is happening and not happening by adding meanings and judging or projecting your narratives onto a breather's process, versus being vertical is responding with action, physical action, to what is actually happening in front of you without adding meanings, judging, or projecting your narratives onto a breather's process. So doing deep personal work opens up to greater depth of compassion and love. So facilitators who have done much work on themselves are able to have a compassion and love for their breathers they work with, which ultimately brings much desired healing for everyone. And if you haven't experienced the transformative power of neurodynamic breathworks yet, I encourage you to give it a try. Also, I extend an invitation to apply for our upcoming training course starting on September 2nd. This unique opportunity allows you to delve deeper into the practice, fostering a profound connection with like-minded individuals and nurturing a supportive community. So thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Simon. So you've kind of heard about us and some of the benefits that we've seen other people have and that we've had, and and a couple others for me. I was actually had a fear of public speaking before I became a facilitator, and now I love it. It's like it's an amazing transformation. And before, I didn't have a lot of confidence in my ability to work through difficult situations. Sometimes I would take the easy time out, like the easy way out. So for instance, in one in-person session that we did, the place that we were going to have it at, like a week before, there was a big fire and 50 people couldn't get there. And it normally takes about 9 months to find a good spot where you can have 40, 50 people, that type of thing. And so like before this training, I would have said, okay, we're just going to cancel it. What can I do? It's not my fault. But after the training and where I was at after that was, okay, I'm going to make this happen. I made this commitment to make this happen. I'm going to find a spot. And I called 25 spots. And finally, I found a spot where they'd had something coming on the next weekend that had just canceled. And it happened. I would have never done that before. So just this confidence in working through and being able to be successful no matter what happens. But that's us. But I'd like to share with you a couple of shares from actual participants in the program. They're both about 3 minutes. So I'm just going to play a couple of videos so you can really see what participants get out of the program. So let me just do a quick screen share here. Okay, so the first one is from Tim.
Hi, my name is Tim Wright. I just finished the NeuroDynamic Breathwork Facilitation course, and I wanted to make this short video to help you get a better understanding of what this program is all about and what you can get out of it. I have to tell you that for me personally, the program was absolutely life-changing. It was one of the best courses I've ever taken in my life, not only for the things I've learned, but for the person I became through going through the process. Uh, the course covers everything you need to know to become a breathwork facilitator. It covers all the technical stuff, how to set up a breathwork session, how to do the intro talk and explain how everything works, how to do the legal forms and the waivers, how to set up a business, all the ethical considerations, all of the things that you would normally expect to learn in a course on facilitation. You will learn that. You'll be extremely empowered and equipped to become a good facilitator. But that's only part of the story. The main thing about this course is the personal growth that you'll experience. You literally become a different person. You learn that in order that the best way you can help heal somebody else is to heal yourself, to work on yourself. And the program really emphasizes that. And you learn more about yourself, your human psyche, why you're doing the things that you're doing, and how to stop doing those things that are harmful, and how to learn. I feel like I've grown in my capacity to be fully present with other people and to open my heart and to really allow love and light to shine through me and to hold space for people so that they can heal. I have to tell you that one of the most amazing things about this course are the people that come here. There's something about breath work that attracts people that are vibrating on a higher vibrational level. And I fell in love with my classmates. They are absolutely some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. And I've made friends with people literally from all over the world that I consider deep, deep friends as a result of going through this program together. And I feel like what we're doing in breathwork and in the class I took is that we are working together to heal world consciousness, to raise the level of consciousness in our entire planet. And I feel like it's part of a larger movement. And if you're thinking about taking this course, I would say only if you want to have your life changed forever, because you will be changed. You will get everything that you need to become a great breath work, neurodynamic breath work facilitator, but you'll get much, much more out of the course. So I encourage you to ask questions, talk with Glenn, talk with Michael, talk with Saimi, uh, who does a lot of the personal development in the course. Uh, Ask questions, get your questions answered, and when you're ready to change your life and you're ready to change the world, then go ahead and sign up. And I look forward to meeting you someday in the alumni group. So, namaste.
And we'll just give you one more share from somebody, and then we'll talk a little bit about the cost and then open it up for Q&A. So let's get this set up.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Nech. I am French, based in California, and I was part of the first NeuroDynamic Breathwork Facilitator program. And if I record this video today, it's because it was one of the most life-changing course that I ever took in my life. I was looking for a breathwork training, but a real in-depth training that I could not find anywhere. So that's why when Michael, Glenn, and Saimi came up with this program, I just jumped into it. And I got way more than what I expected, right, really. It's a very serious program. You go in depth in the theory, and the psychology, and the consciousness research. You get the skills that you need to become a good facilitator. You're really held and supported. That's what I think love the most, is the support I got from the group, from the other trainees, but also from the teachers. You also get many hours to practice your facilitation skills. You are in pairs, you work in groups, so it's very interactive. And also one of the things that I love the most is that there is a big part of self-development, where you have the opportunity to really take time to look and work on yourself, and before even helping others, like really looking inside of you. And I look now where I am and where I started, and I can see that it completely changed the trajectory of my life. I'm now holding online sessions. I also have my own in-person breathwork groups in California, and I offer one-on-one sessions as well, which I added to other modalities that I was already offering, like yoga and dance. So it's really something that I was able to bring and incorporate into those modalities that I already shared. It feels really whole. So if you're thinking about taking a breathwork training, taking this breathwork training, I can only highly recommend. Whether you do it to become a facilitator or also just to do it for you and for the knowledge. So if your heart is telling you, if your, as we say in breathwork, inner intelligence is guiding you towards this program, do not hesitate. That's my message. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're just going to do one little final thing on the cost, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So let me do another screen share here. Okay, so the full price would be, like, if you just registered at the last moment, one day before, it would be $5,995. There's an early registration discount of $1,000, which is active right now. An additional discount if you register within 5 days of being accepted into the program. So then the cost after the discounts is $46.95. And we have payment plans. Basically, our goal is that if you are really committed to being in this program, we want to work out a way for you to do so. So we have payment plans available that are as low as $430 a month, standard programs, or even if something, that doesn't work for you, we can customize plans for you. So really our commitment is to do our best to get you in if it's something that you feel called to do. And that's a 6-month program. And after that, you'll be certified to do online sessions of any size and private in-person sessions. And many people already have something that they're doing where they're working one-on-one with people, like life coaching or therapists, or all these kinds of different things where they just want to add breathwork to it. Or some people just aren't doing anything like that and just want to start their own journey of supporting people in their personal growth with breathwork. But if you just want to do one-on-one in-person sessions, then that's the end. If you want to do in-person groups, we need to give you a little bit more information. And we broke it out because some people really don't care about that. It's at the end of the session, about a month later, we do a 3-day online intensive on in-person groups, where on one of the days you actually bring a friend with you and you can practice what we call release work, where when you're in person, you can actually support people physically in releasing tension out of their body. So we train you on how to work with each body part. You actually get a practice of going out and doing an in-person group and coming back, sharing the results. We go through all of the difficult scenarios we've had in in-person groups. And that cost would be an additional $300 to $500. It's just sliding scale, whatever you can do. So again, again, that with the last little module, we also want, if you really want to do it, we want to figure out a way to get you in. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So let me stop the screen share. And Sammy, did you have anything else you want to say, or just open it up to Q&A at this point?
Yes, please.
Okay, so if any of you have any questions, please, you should have a Q&A tab on the bottom of your webinar. And if you click on that, you can type in a question and we'll answer them. Here we go. Okay, here's a question. Do you need to purchase specific software for music or any of the sessions? The only software that you have to buy is Zoom. Like the lowest, and it's basically, they have a free version, but if you want to do, like when you're doing the sessions, practice with people, the free versions, only go to a certain period of time. And it's like $10 a month or something. It's not expensive. And in terms of software for putting the music together, you have 2 choices. One is if you're really called to put the music together, we actually demonstrate how to do it in a couple of softwares, but they're only about $50. And so you can learn how to do that. Or if you don't want to do that, some people just aren't interested, we actually have people who you can just submit the tracks to, and for a nominal charge, they'll put the set together for you. So, okay. Timothy, so what are the differences between neurodynamic and holotropic breathwork? So holotropic breathwork, first of all, has to be done in person. It cannot be done online, or else you can't call it holotropic breathwork. It's structured to have like a physical facilitator there with you. Second of all, the breathing sessions have to be 3 hours. And our breathing sessions are 60 to 90 minutes. Third of all, you have to, as an in-person structure, you have a sitter. So you have two people working together all day. And so there's actually 2 3-hour breathing sessions. You're a sitter and you're a breather. And that's why the whole workshop takes about 10 hours. So there's also various other differences. For instance, in the sharing groups, they're handled differently there. The things that are similar are that the breathing technique is somewhat similar, and also the whole like concept of what we call the inner guiding intelligence, and it's called more like the inner healer in holotropic breath work, where it's, where we basically are trusting each breather's inner healer or inner guiding intelligence to bring up the experience that they need. That's similar between NeuroDynamic and holotropic. But the whole structure of the workshop, how it happens, because it's, it can be done online, is really completely different. And the Saturday live sessions, what is the time zone? They're in Pacific time. So it starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So in Central time, for instance, they would start from 11 o'clock. They would go from 11 to 3:30. In Pacific time, it's 9 to 1:30. Okay. And there's another question about, let's see here. CEUs. No, at this point, we do not offer CEUs for our program. Okay, and okay. To clarify, are the sessions live online or live in person? I asked because I'm located near Toronto, Canada. All of the sessions are live online. So there's no in-person component to this training session or to the live sessions that you have on our platform. And the only thing that you'll be doing with someone is if you do that last little piece, and for one of the sessions, you have a friend with you in the same room. Yes. And there's a question. Okay, I'd really like to join, but the $420 is way beyond my family. Would I discuss the option I have with you here or in a private email? Please email us if that's your situation so we can discuss it. Yes. And you can email me personally at michael@breathworkonline.com, and we'll see if we can figure something out. Or we could actually, discuss it in a discovery call. And so the next, I'm going to get back to these questions, but the next step would be, if you really want to do it, is to submit an application. And we're going to send an email out to you after this in about probably half an hour or an hour with how you would do that, where you go. And after the application, then if it seems like it's a good fit and you're ready to go, then we'll schedule a 30-minute private one-on-one discovery call with you to answer any of the questions that either myself or Glenn will be working with you personally, to make sure you have all your questions answered and you're just really clear on the program and that you want to get into it. And so kind of we can just chit chat with you and get a sense of who you are. See, how many have completed the program today? So far it's been about 175 people, something like that. We've been doing them for about 22, 23, over 3 years. And see. Oh, so here we go. Question. Thank you. This is very informative. Regarding the music, do you always have to use your own music, or can we use the playlists that you're using in the online sessions? Everybody creates their own playlists. So you'll be creating your own playlist, and that's why we have 2 whole sessions in terms of how to do that. Or like many times people share playlists among themselves as the trainees. And we also teach you about licensing and all that stuff. So you can really dive in and put together powerful music sets that you can that will allow your breathers to really dive in. And again, sometimes the trainees share sets among themselves, and but everybody. So really, it's about each music set kind of comes from your own inner guiding intelligence. So it's an important kind of practice in tuning into yourself, tuning into what feels right to put as the next track and what feels right to put as the next track. And it's a very beautiful just practice in learning how to tune in to yourself. Putting together a music set is one of my favorite experiences in life. It's just amazing, just finding the perfect track. It's just like, oh my God. Anyway, so yes, you will be putting together your own experiences, or at least figuring out what tracks you want to go one after the other, and then having someone else put it together, actually mixing it for you. Can I get the class schedule? Yes, we are going to be sending you in the email after this a link so you can see what the class schedule is. If I understand correctly, there are 17 sessions over 6 months. How regularly do you run the training? We run the training twice a year. So like this next one starts September 2nd. The next one would start the end of February or the beginning of March. So we do run them twice every year. And if for some reason you really want to do this, I always encourage you, while you're kind of in this like feeling this experience, this is right for me, just to go for it and join. But if for some reason you can't do this one, you could register for the next one. And yes, the prices are in US dollars. Yeah, and let's see here. And so we have a question. You are speaking about sessions from 60 to 90 minutes, but as a regression hypnotherapist, is it also possible to use tools from this course in therapy sessions? Well, I guess what I would say to that is, well, first of all, that's the 60 to 90 minutes is the actual length of the breathing. The actual sessions are 2 hours because we do an introductory talk always, which we'll train you to do. And again, if you haven't done one of our sessions yet, we're also going to give you a link to do a session for free in the email that you're going to get. But you'll see we cover everything that people might experience during the session. We go through the contraindications to make sure that people can experience it safely and dive in as deeply as possible. Then there's the hour breathing, and then there's a share group at the end. That's kind of how it works. And I would say, in terms of, is it possible to use tools from the course in therapy sessions? I would say yes, in two senses. First of all, many people who are therapists do have people do a breathwork session and then do therapy afterwards while they're in this open state, and they're much more open to, working with stuff that they might be fearful of expressing, or they're in a much more open-hearted space and willing to be more vulnerable. And also just some of the tools in terms of just allowing, being there for a person. You can use these same tools in therapy, of basically opening up space for people to find their own answers within, instead of kind of, telling them what needs to happen, is a way of really self-empowering people. And it works in every part of life, including therapy, to feel more confident in themselves and to not feel like a victim in life. Our culture wants us to be victims. Like, for instance, it doesn't want us to be happy. If you were totally happy, the culture in the United States, the economy would collapse, because no one would want to buy the bigger car. No one would want to buy the bigger house. No one would want to buy the bigger TV, because they would go, I don't need that. I can find happiness within. I don't need to have a bigger TV to be happy. I don't need to give my power away to someone else to make me happy. And so all the advertising wouldn't work, where they're basically telling you, you're not happy now, but if you buy my car, yes, you'll be amazingly happy. Or if you buy this house, oh my God, you'll feel so great. People aren't going to, fall for that. I call it hypnosis, really. So in a sense, breathwork is a de-hypnosis. We've been hypnotized to believe that basically the outside world has the power to make us happy, and the power to, control our inner emotional states. And you start to see in breathwork, no, all of that power lies within, and that we can access it. And it starts to train us to do that. And you can use that same structure and concept in therapy to allow people to feel more empowered. Many of these tools will be very, very valuable. Okay, and then is this method rooted in pranayama? Pranayama is a breathwork session or breathwork technique that's been used for thousands of years, but it's used for a different purpose. So yes, you do work with the breath, but it's more about relaxation. It has a different, every breathwork has a different purpose, and so it's a bit of a different breath technique also. And there's different instructions. So It's rooted in pranayama to the degree that we're using breath to allow people to dive in and, work through healing, feel more self-empowered, that kind of thing. But it's from a different angle, really. And that's in pranayama, you don't dive into these super deep spaces where you have visuals, where you go into past lives, or sometimes people feel like they're kind of connecting to someone who's passed away, where they can talk to that person and complete a relationship. That's not the kind of stuff that happens in pranayama, and that's not the purpose of pranayama. So this is more designed to do a really, really deep dive into your psyche. Okay, and let's see here. Can you also confirm there are 4-hour sessions on 3 Saturdays per month over 6 months, plus coaching and personal sessions with our friends? I'm just wanting to be clear on the commitment of time weekly. Yes, so the basic weekly commitment is, 3 times a month, 4.5 hours, on the Saturdays. Then also once a week, a 2-hour online breathwork session with us. And you figure 2.5, because many times the share circles go over. And about an additional 4 hours a week, maybe, anywhere from, 4 to 5 hours a week with all the other stuff, which is on your own time, basically. Which has to do with connecting with other people, doing your own breathwork sessions, the videos, the homework. That's about it, maybe, another 4 to 5 hours every week. So when you add those 3 together, you basically get a commitment of, the 4.5 hours 3 times a month, 2.5 hours a week for the breathwork, and maybe another 4.5 hours a week with all the other stuff put together. But again, everything except for the in-person sessions is you can control your own time. And even our online sessions, we do them 5 times a week. Some are in the morning, some are in the evening, some are in the afternoons. So you can just find a session that works for you. And it doesn't have to be 1 session every week. If you're super busy one week, you can do 2 the next. So, and also the sessions that you do with your partners count as an online session. So when you're doing later in the breathwork, when you do, let's say, 3 or 4 sessions with your partner, then you wouldn't have to do also an additional online session with us at the same time. Okay. Let's see here. And then, are there grants available in any financial aid? And we do have, we always in each training have a couple of spots that we hold open for people that really want to do it, but need a little bit of a discount. There are costs involved with putting on, like we have to pay the coaches, we have to pay the people that come in, that kind of stuff. But we do have some flexibility for people. We have a couple reduced cost spots available. And if you are interested, I strongly recommend that you apply right away. So you could get one of those, where we can, come down, 10, 20, percent, or adjust the amounts, that kind of thing. So the answer is yes, we do have a couple of those spots available. Okay. Oh yeah, we have 2 more actually now. We have, are you going to send over the details in an email, dates, times, etc.? Yes. You'll get an email within an hour with how to experience a free one of our sessions if you haven't done so already, the schedule, and we're ultimately also going to send you like a recording of this video if you want to relook, once we get it ready and edit it, and also a link to where you can sign up to apply, and you'll get that within an hour after this session. Okay, so we have a question. I've been away from my computer. Okay, but this is the question. How do you screen the applicants to the program? I know some really psychologically messed up people have become certified life coaches and should in no way be advising other people or acting as a therapist. How do you try to ensure that someone who wants to become a facilitator has the correct mindset to do so? I wonder, can a facilitator actually harm someone? So the answer is, if you're not fully trained, absolutely. If you don't know what you're doing, you can harm someone. And that's part of the reason why we have this really intensive deep dive training program where you're supported, where you're coaches, and also why we have a screening process. And many other programs, they'll say, oh, you can be a breathwork facilitator in a weekend, come do it for 8 hours. Those are dangerous programs. We would never advise something like that. Even if you don't resonate with this program, find another program that's a long, deep dive program where you can really do it safely. And the other thing is we also screen through discovery calls. as you said. Like we have people apply, and some of the questions have to do with why do you think you'd be a good breathwork facilitator, that type of thing. And then we have a discovery call that's 30 to 45 minutes where we actually talk to someone to really get a sense of, from our perspective, can a person be present? Do we feel like they can really that they're really committed to doing a deep dive into the program? And we only accept about 1 out of every 3 people that applies, 1 out of every 3 or 1 of every 4. So we are very careful about the people that we bring into the program. So you can be confident that if you do ultimately, after the discovery call, get an invitation to the program, that there's something that we see in you that we really feel very strongly that you'd be a really good breathwork facilitator. And all 3 of us, myself and Glenn and Saimi, all 3 of us have to be on board with the invitation into the program. So that's why we do go through that screening process. Okay, and okay, a question: how can I experience a full representative session of neurodynamic breathwork? I've never done more than a single abbreviated session, which isn't enough to evaluate the fit. So on our, I do some abbreviated sessions, like 7 or 8 minutes, in some of the summits that I do and some of the interviews that I do. But if you go to our platform, you can choose the session and do it for free. And I'll give you that info. It's neurodynamicbreathwork.com. But I'm going to give you in the email, I'll give you a link on where to go to actually, choose a full-on 2-hour session where you can participate for yourself and really see what it's like. And I really encourage you, leave a little bit of time afterwards so you can participate in the share group, so you can see what kind of questions people have and what type of experiences they have. So yeah, I do really encourage you to go for it and try one of our sessions. They're amazing. It'll blow you away. So, and let's see here. Okay. Oh, there's a question on the anatomy of people's oral cavities and how this affects their breathing. And really, so this is not really training people on how to breathe properly in life. So that's really a different thing. There's a whole other thing about how do you breathe correctly in life to be more present, to be as healthy as possible. The breathing technique that we have is specifically designed for neurodynamic breathwork to allow people to dive into the process. And what's happening is, we have a whole, one of the sessions we'll talk about the science of breathwork. And, the purpose of that is we want you to be able to actually, if someone is interested in breathwork and working with you, we want to be able to work with people who are science-oriented and who are more spiritually oriented. So to explain it to them in from the more spiritual side, and also so you know exactly what's going on scientifically when people do this full deep, faster breathing. And there's a whole explanation behind how it works with your blood. It makes it more alkaline, what's going on, what's happening in your brain, where people who are really science focused can really understand why this works and what's going on. And there's 3 factors, and we talk about all this. One is what's physiologically happening to you, which quiets the ego mind. Also giving yourself permission to release. We talk about how important that is. And the music, and how those three of those things weave together to allow people to have these profound inner experiences. And we train you in that. But the breath itself, it's really just about moving more air through your system. So, and some people, everybody's breath will look a little bit different. And we even say, and this is kind of goes in line with what we say, we want to have people start trusting their inner guidance. And this is really the only breath work that does this. We say, start with this breath technique that we'll train you on for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And after that, trust your body wisdom in terms of how to breathe. And people's breathing changes all the way during the session when they start really trusting themselves and letting life flow through them in the way that it wants to. And their breathing may go quicker, it may go slower, they may hold their breath, they may just stop breathing and be present in this beautiful, breathless space for a while. So the whole thing is around training people, trust yourself, listen to your body, listen to your inner guidance, bring who you are forth into the world. And that's why so many people get more clarity on their purpose in life and breathwork as they start trusting themselves more and getting underneath why most people don't really think about when they want something in their life, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to have a family, or I don't. Much of that is culturally conditioned. You grow up in this bubble of cultural conditioning with advertising, with marketing, with seeing how your parents' life is. That's what controls your first 5 or 6 years of your life. And the question is, how do you get underneath that and really see what you want, what's true for you? And, that was part of what, my own process was when I grew up. My father was in a big corporation. He was very, security was very important to him. And he just wanted to have a nice pension and that type of thing. And so that's the pathway that I followed. I became an engineer like him. I joined a big company. But then ultimately, when I got in my 30s, when I started to do my own inner work, I started to say, is this really what I want? Or is this what the culture's telling me? And what I saw was it wasn't at all what I wanted. I wanted to start my own company. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to go on a totally different pathway. But I had to start doing my own inner work to find that. And that's why breathwork is so powerful. You start to learn to look deeply into yourself and see, what do you want to contribute to the world? What do you want to bring to the world so that other people can find their own light, can find their own purpose? And that's why Breathwork Facilitator, I'm so passionate about that. Breathwork is one of the only way that I know in life that even after just, sometimes after a handful of sessions, people get insights into who they really are, get rid of some of their unconscious thinking patterns. They get more, they release some of these tensions that are making them feel tired all the time. They complete these relationships that they couldn't have by kind of connecting with people who have passed away, but they never got to complete with them. They can see their past from a different way and really empower themselves to see what their purpose is, to shine their light into the world, and to support others in doing the same. And, that's what I've gotten from my own breathwork facilitator with tens of thousands of people that have worked with me online. And that's why I'm so passionate about the training program, so that other people can really bring the same benefits to people in their life and to any other people that, after we train you a little bit, and also how to create your own business too, how to get the word out. Okay. All right. And see here. Thank you so much. Appreciate your sharing, and thank you for bringing the work to the world. Oh, you're very welcome, Lisa. It's my passion, and it's my purpose. That's what I really saw through breathwork. That was my mission and purpose in life. What one of my strengths was I can hold a safe space for people to really dive in and do their own work. Yes. Okay. And will there be transcripts or PDF documents of the factual presentations? In the NeuroDynamic breathwork training itself, we do have video recordings of a lot of the information that you need, where we go through PDFs, and you have permanent access to those, and permanent access to the actual live training sessions where there aren't PDFs. But all the PDFs that we use, you'll have access to. And all right. And thank you, Nancy. She said, just thank you for your time and answers. We'll be looking forward to explore the free session first. Have a lovely day. All right, and we are complete. So thank you all for your questions. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day.
Yes.
Hope to see you in our next training program. And really, if you haven't tried one of our sessions, I really encourage you. With experiential things, we can chit chat all we want, but the only way to really know is to try it out for yourself. And all of the sessions, again, are done by either me or Glenn or Saimi. You'll see the little photo beside the session of who's going to lead that particular session, but they're all, they all follow the same structure. And again, much love to you all, and thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.